Hogwarts Legacy DLC might actually be happening. According to a new insider report, Hogwarts Legacy is set to get a new definitive edition and it's currently in development. So today we're going to dive into that report. We're going to talk about what kind of content could be included in that definitive edition. Will there be new story quests? Will there be new side quests? When is this thing going to get unveiled and when could we actually get it released? We're going to talk about all of that and more. So check the video chapters for easy viewing and let's dive in. So it seems like Hogwarts Legacy is finally going to be the gift that gives. We've been waiting quite a while for any new content to be added to the game, and outside of a photo mode with some other features, it's been a pretty dry time to be a Hogwarts Legacy fan, but we have some news today that should surely get you excited or at least get you hopeful for the potential of DLC coming to this game. So this news is coming from Insider Gaming. They're a reputable source that has gotten quite a few things right. They usually don't run on a story unless they have a somewhat reliable source. Now, if we turn to the Insider Gaming website, they have a report up on there right now that states exclusive Hogwarts Legacy Definitive Edition is in development. Now, if you guys remember right, the current rumblings is that Hogwarts Legacy's had a director's cut in the works, and it was being co-developed by Rocksteady Games after the unfortunate failure of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Well, they stopped working on that game and then started working on a director's cut. Well, it seems like that director's cut is now a definitive edition, which is pretty exciting. So the Insider Gaming report then continues on to say, Insider Gaming understands that a Hogwarts Legacy Definitive Edition is in development. Its content will be sold as separate DLC for those with the existing game, and the definitive edition is said to have around 10 to 15 hours of additional content with a new story quest, new side quests, activities, and outfits. Which, I mean, if we just take that news right there, like 10 to 15 hours of additional content, that alone is pretty exciting. For a DLC, I was only hoping for like maybe a couple hours of new content, but if it's 10 to 15 hours of additional stuff, like we might actually be back. Like, this is really exciting. Now, the report then continues on to say that details on when the edition and or DLC will be released and its price are still in flux. Still, some sources have suggested that it could be released in 2025 to bolster Warner Brothers Games' diminishing gaming revenue following the weak performance of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And it's been suggested that the DLC will be between $20 and $30. But I'll talk more about the pricing as well as when this thing is going to get revealed and released in just a bit. Now, the Insider report then continues to say Hogwarts Legacy was released at the beginning of 2023, and as of January 2024, it sold over 24 million copies. The game itself is still in the top 10 best-selling games in 2024 in the US, sitting at the number 10 spot. They continued by saying earlier in the year, Warner Brothers Discovery CFO said that a successor to Hogwarts Legacy is, quote, one of the biggest priorities in a couple of years down the road, so there's still a lot of time to wait for those looking forward to a sequel, they said. They concluded the article by saying, as for when the definitive edition / DLC will be announced, it has remained to be seen, but with a potential 2025 release date on the cards, it could be sooner rather than later. So that report had a lot of stuff that we have to unpack. First and foremost, let's talk about the actual content itself. According to the report, they said it's going to have 10 to 15 hours of additional content, which is actually a lot longer than I ever expected it to be. I was thinking something maybe around 3 to 5 hours long for the DLC, but new DLC content that's additional 10 to 15 hours long is actually pretty wild to me. So whatever this new content is, it will be a substantial update to the game worlds. In some ways, I would love for this DLC to be really focused on the horror side of things, maybe focus on the Forbidden Forest. Basically, anytime you go into the Forbidden Forest for Hogwarts Legacy, it is definitely a vibe. There's also the Haunted Hogsmeade quest that was incredible, so maybe them leaning more in on the horror side of things would be pretty cool. Now, there's also another thing, and that is the Triwizard Tournament, and I've seen this requested like quite a bit. With Hogwarts Legacy, there obviously wasn't the Triwizard Tournament, but I would love for them to somehow find a way for it to work with Hogwarts Legacy DLC. Like, it would almost be the perfect middle ground. Like, you wouldn't have to continue the story with the main game, as I feel like they did a good job at closing most of the stuff until the sequel. And the Triwizard Tournament also offers a lot of gameplay opportunities. Like, imagine 3 tasks in the world of Hogwarts Legacy. It would just be really sick. I'm almost picturing this DLC like the Breath of the Wild Master Trials DLC, where the DLC was mainly focused on adding a new game plus and also adding challenges for players to complete to upgrade their Master Sword. Another thing that the Triwizard Tournament allows is for new students to be roaming around Hogwarts throughout your playthrough. Like, I can already picture the Durmstrang ship that's anchored in the Black Lake. It would look pretty sick. Now, in terms of other kind of DLC we could expect, I've seen a lot of wishful thinking about a Quidditch DLC, which I don't think that's going to happen, especially since there's a game right now that you could play. It's literally all about Quidditch. I've also seen something about the Chamber of Secrets, which again, I don't think that's going to happen. I think that whatever they do for this definitive edition and the DLC, it will be something that's like contained to this game that doesn't really have any other implications outside of Hogwarts Legacy. I don't think we're going to get a massive setup for the sequel, although there could be some teasers, but for the most part, it'll likely be contained. Now, the definitive edition is also said to have new side quests, new activities, and new outfits. I'm hoping they throw in some mini games that they cut initially. Maybe we could finally get gobstones added, perhaps wizard chest that is playable, and there's just so many other possibilities that I could talk about for hours and hours about what I would love for them to add. But we also have to consider that this is only going to be a DLC. It's not going to be a full game, and they are still developing another game. So the developers kind of have to navigate the stuff that they're going to add to the DLC versus add to the sequel. So this brings us to the next topic, and that is going to be the pricing for the definitive edition of Hogwarts Legacy. Now, it's worth noting that not only is this a definitive edition that will likely be a full price, but according to the report, it's also going to have a DLC. So my guess is if you already own Hogwarts Legacy, you will have access to the definitive edition like updates and features. But if you want to play the new DLC story content, that will cost you within probably $20 to $30, which that's what the report said. And I think that's about right. For 10 to 15 hours of content, I think $20 to $30 makes sense. It'll probably be like $29.99. Like if you look at Starfield Shattered Space, they released their DLC, which was about 5 to 10 hours long, and that was $30 as well. Now, another thing we have to point out is most likely the standard edition of Hogwarts Legacy will remain at $70, but I think they're probably going to charge for the definitive edition upgrade, especially due to the PlayStation 5 Pro support that's already confirmed to be happening. The PS5 Pro is obviously releasing this year, and Hogwarts Legacy is already confirmed to be supported. Now, it could be that they only charge like an additional $9.99 for PlayStation 5 Pro users, and then the people on PlayStation 5 will just have the Hogwarts Legacy normal edition, but have the opportunity to spend the $20 to $30 for just the DLC. But if you pick up a PS5 Pro and then you buy the definitive edition, that will come with the DLC as well. These Pro consoles and just having multiple different SKUs for consoles is just really confusing. It's super convoluted just in general, but I have a feeling this is what they're going to do with the pricing model. Now, it could be that they charge nothing for the enhanced edition for the PlayStation 5 Pro. I don't really know the details on that, so anybody in the comment section, feel free to correct me, but I could totally see them charging an extra $10. Sony has done it before in the past. So if you end up buying the $700 PlayStation 5 Pro, just keep that in mind. So now let's talk about the fun stuff. When is this Hogwarts Legacy Definitive Edition going to finally be revealed? There's been rumblings about us getting a new DLC. There's been rumblings about a director's cut in the works. Well, now we know for sure 100% that an enhanced edition is coming to PlayStation 5 Pro. I mean, really all that's left is for them to announce the actual name of the DLC, and then of course unveil the definitive edition, which I think the best time for them to do that is at the Game Awards. It would be so funny that the game that didn't get really any recognition at the Game Awards last year, which they were 100% deserving of, shows up to the event and drops the mic with the DLC trailer and the definitive edition announcement with a release date that we'll talk about in just a bit. Now, if they don't show this thing off at the Game Awards, I think our best bet would just be a random social media post or like a trailer dropped on their YouTube channel that officially announces the definitive edition. So now this brings us to the burning question of the day, and that is, when is this definitive edition and DLC going to be released? Well, if we get the reveal during the Game Awards, then I think it's pretty safe to assume that a release date will happen within the first half of next year. I'm sure that they would want to keep that hype generated from the Game Awards event and then release it most likely on the second anniversary of Hogwarts Legacy's release date, which Hogwarts Legacy obviously released in February of 2023. So it would only be fitting for them to release this definitive edition on the 2-year anniversary as kind of celebration for Hogwarts Legacy's insane success. Now, if they don't reveal this game until next year, then I could see them totally waiting until the Back to Hogwarts event, which is obviously September 1st. Well, guys, that's gonna wrap it up with this video. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. Hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel with your noties on. If you could pick what kind of DLC you would want for Hogwarts Legacy, what would you pick? For me, it's got to be the Triwizard Tournament if they can make sense of it with the game lore. But that's all for me, guys. Thanks for watching, and until next time, this has been Wes, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.